Gear sleds are incredibly useful, great for cabin trips and winter chores. They make moving stuff through deep snow a whole lot easier. In this video, I'll show you an affordable, easy to build design I've been working on and walk you through how to build it. My name's Kyle, and this is Wicked Alaska. This is an expedition sled. I got one for $60 at REI. It's a 5-foot long, very durable sled, very capable of what you want it to do. I originally connected to this sled using PVC pipe, and I used 2 eye bolts to screw into the existing holes on the sled. This was a great beginner setup because it was really fast to connect and disconnect, but I demanded a little bit more from my setup, so we're going to make some changes from this. One of the changes I'm making is I'm not going to use PVC anymore. When PVC breaks, it can turn pretty dangerous, especially if you're on skis and you wipe out with a heavy sled behind you. You don't want something sharp like this poking you in the back. I had first considered PEX, but then I realized that it was way too flexible. 1/2-inch metal pipe is a pretty popular option. It's a little heavy, but it is very strong. Gray PVC or electrical conduit is kind of in between the two options. It's medium heavy and it's got medium stiffness. And when the gray stuff breaks, it doesn't form a spear. I decided to go with the gray conduit, so I bought 2 10-foot long sections and 2 90-degree couplers. Now I need a way to drill a hole in my sled. There's a couple of tools that you could use for this, and I'm going to choose a hole saw. I don't want to make a hole that's too big, so I want to make sure that it's just bigger than my pipe. This is 1/2-inch inner diameter pipe, so the hole in the sled isn't going to be that large. This is the front of the sled. It's a 5-inch deep sled. I want to attach my poles low to the ground, and I want to be back off the front of the sled. I think this is going to add a lot of stability and prevent the sled from tipping over on the side hills. I placed a dot 2 inches from the bottom, and I'm going to do that on the other side too, making sure that I'm directly across from the other dot. These dots are going to be the center of where I cut my holes, and that'll allow both sides to line up properly. It's important that these holes are directly across from each other, so that way when you attach the pipes, you're not pulling the sled at an angle. Most of the piping is going to go together with some cement. I'm using all-purpose cement here. And we're going to attach the 90-degree bends to the ends of each of these 10-foot long sections of conduit. If you've never used all-purpose cement before, once you apply it to the pipe, it's going to start curing pretty quickly, so you're going to want to make your mate fast. It's okay to really lather this on. Anything that's excess will just push out and cure in place, and that's not a big deal for this build. I'm going to cut the poles down to 9 feet long so that I can fat bike with this pulled behind me. If I was going to ski with this, I would want 8-foot long poles, and if I was snowshoeing or on foot, 6 or 7 foot long would work just fine. You'll see how I set these poles up so that I can use them during any activity. Lastly, to construct my poles, I'm going to only use one of my scrap pieces, a 1-foot long section, and I'm going to glue that to one of the ends of the 90-degree bends. Once you glue these together, they're permanently fixed, and you're going to be pretty confident they're not going to come apart. The last joint in the poles I'm not going to glue because I want to be able to take these apart to put in my car. How they'll stay together in the field is some hardware. I'm going to take a drill bit that'll make the right size hole, and then I'm going to drill through the fully seated joint. The pipes fit really snug together when they're new. Over time, they'll loosen up a bit, but for the first couple of uses, you don't want them to be annoyingly tight. I'm going to take some sandpaper and loosen up the joint a bit, and that should help me mate these 2 pipes together for the first couple of uses. Now that the joint's loosened up a bit, it's a much more manageable attachment and detachment. Time to put it in the sled. Once this is assembled, it's going to be symmetric about the sled, so it doesn't matter which side takes the long end first. And once mated, you can insert the hardware. I like to put a washer on both sides so that it doesn't strip through the plastic. And it's not a bad idea to carry extra hardware. I suggest drilling an additional hole somewhere along the pipe. You can add the extra hardware there, and that way you'll always have it with you. The last step to build out the poles is we need to put a place to attach your backpack or your pulling harness to. In my case, I want to drill a couple different holes along the length of the poles. These different lengths are associated with different activities. I want the full length of the pole for fat biking, I want somewhere around 8 foot for skiing, and I want somewhere around 7 foot for snowshoeing and pulling by foot. My favorite building material is 550 cord, and that's what I plan to use to attach my poles to a backpack or a pulling harness. I'm going to feed cord through these holes that I drilled in the poles, and I'm going to tie a loop. And once there's a strong loop formed there, I'm going to use a carabiner to attach that to my belt. I'm going to place one of these loops at each length for each activity, and that way I'll have flexibility in how I pull the sled. The last thing that this sled needs is mounting spots so that I can have tie downs for when I put my gear in. Being able to tie your gear down nice and tight is really important because any movement of your gear is going to influence this thing to roll over on itself. And you also don't want to lose anything on the trail. You could tie simple loops in each of the holes of the sled and that would be sufficient. But I want to create some rigging that's a little bit more complex because I'm going to really fill this sled and I'm going to need to tie it down in a lot of different spots. I'm also going to add a mounting spot in the rear and the middle. Having a loop here is great if you want to ever daisy chain sleds, but it's also a great place to attach to if you have somebody trailing. On steep side hills that the sled wants to slide down on, the person in the back can help hold your sled upright. You don't have to get too complicated with this, but I got a little creative and I liked how it turned out. Another reason why I didn't just tie simple loops in every one of the mounting holes is by rigging in this way, I have one continuous piece of 550 cord with me in the event I need it for an emergency. This is a 30-foot piece of cord that I'm going to keep uncut. To use up its length, I'm going to basically sew my way all the way up to the front of the sled. And in each mounting location, I'm going to tie a loop in the cord, and that's where bungee cord and other rigging can attach to. Once I get to the front, I'm going to finish off with another loop. This would be a great spot for a carabiner for other rigging, and it also could be a great spot to apply a brake. Brakes are great if you plan to do a lot of downhilling with your sled, and they're pretty simple to add. Buy some plastic lightweight chain, get about a 2.5 foot long section, and then attach each end of the chain to the front of the sled, and it'll just basically drag underneath the sled, providing friction and slowing the sled down. Alright, we're done. We now have a fully built sled. You have poles you can take apart and transport in your car, and you have some great rigging to tie your gear down. Time to get out and adventure.